This fast-growing robbery scam is cleaning out bank accounts in seconds without ever stepping inside a bank either. It's called jugging.
Have you heard of jugging?
It's called jugging, a crime trend on the rise across the nation. And
robbery, it's known as bank jugging.
It shows what is called jugging.
And it's snowballing into a nationwide threat.
As a father of two daughters, it concerns me.
I do get scared. Makes me not want to go to the ATM sometimes.
To worry about, and if it's happening at all different times of the day, like that's really scary. That's really scary.
Criminals are staking out bank parking lots, ATM locations, and even inside branches, silently waiting, watching, and following victims. In most cases, you don't even realize you've been targeted until it's already too late. And it's not just happening in one or two places anymore. According to law enforcement reports, just in Central Florida, at least 7 confirmed jugging cases have surfaced this year alone. In Maryland, 21 victims were hit in just 1 week, with the FBI tracking over 70 jugging offenses by mid-2024, half of them in just June and July. And then Georgia, the Carolinas, and even Washington, D.C. have all seen surges in this brutal follow-you-home crime. So coming up, you'll see how jugging gangs use lookouts, radios, and even inside bank employees to set you up, the 5 red flags to watch before leaving the bank, and the one change that you can make to your routine to protect yourself from ever becoming the next victim. So what is jugging actually? So first, I want you to imagine walking out of your bank with a thick envelope in your hand of your hard-earned money. You're not flashy. You're just trying to make it to your car and get on with your day. But what you don't realize is someone's already watching you, not from across the room, but from a parking lot or in a car with tinted windows. And they've been waiting for someone just like you. And that's essentially what bank jugging is. At its core, jugging is a coordinated robbery setup where criminals stake out banks and ATMs looking for people who walk out with visible signs of cash, whether it's an envelope, a deposit bag, or even just someone nervously checking over their shoulder. The moment you leave, they follow. Sometimes they wait until you get home too. And other times they strike the second that you stop at a gas station or run into a convenience store. It's fast, it's organized, and it's happening all across the country from big cities to quiet suburbs. And funny enough, jugging isn't some silly law enforcement acronym. It's actually street slang that started in places like Texas and then spread fast as the crime did. And actually, back in the day, jug was used to refer to a stash, like a safe full of cash. So if someone was jugging, it meant that they were on the lookout for someone carrying a stash that they could hit up. And listen, the term has even made its way into rap culture, showing up in songs like Jug Season by the Migos, where it's used to describe hitting a lick or making fast money, usually through shady or risky tactics. And even in the streets, the word's been around for a while. But for most people, it's just now hitting the radar. It's only recently that law enforcement has started recognizing and formally using the term. And some departments had never even heard of the word until last year, and now it's showing up in daily crime briefings. And it's even gotten so bad in places like Texas and Maryland that lawmakers are scrambling to kind of redefine jugging as a felony level offense with enhanced sentencing just to keep up with how bold and violent it's becoming. So let's talk about how jugging actually works. So what you have to remember is these criminals have a routine, and they've done this before. So first, they park outside a bank or credit union, often in rental cars or vehicles with out-of-state plates. Obviously, the windows are going to be dark, and their engines are running. Sometimes it's just one person inside. Other times, it's a whole crew. What they do is they watch closely for someone leaving with a cash envelope, a zipper bag, or even, just walking with that "I've got money on me" energy. Then they follow the victim either on foot or by car, and you may go, to the grocery store, grab a smoothie, or even heading home. It doesn't even matter. They're on you. And then when the moment is right, that's when they strike. Maybe they wait for you to run into a store and then smash your window. Maybe they create a distraction. Hey, did you drop this $5 bill? While someone else comes in and then grabs your purse. In more aggressive cases, they confront you directly with weapons drawn, taking your cash and often your documents and your phone, ID, and so much more. This is organized street crime, and it's getting more tech savvy by the day. They have spotters and lookouts. One person may go into the bank and then pretend to be a customer. They watch who's withdrawing large sums of money and then alert their partner waiting outside. Then they have communication tools. Jugging crews use walkie-talkies, group text, and in some cases, Apple AirTags or other GPS trackers to keep tabs on you once you leave the bank. And in some rare but really scary cases, actual bank employees have tipped off jugging crews when a customer makes a large withdrawal. And they know how to blend in, how to follow without being noticed, and even how to move fast when it comes time to strike. And here's where it gets even worse. Jugging doesn't always stop once you reach your car. Okay? In many cases, they follow you all the way home. They wait until you park, until you unlock your front door, and until you've dropped your guard. That's when they make their move. And in one heartbreaking case out of Houston, a single mom who had just cleaned 3 homes that day went to the bank to withdraw $10,000 to buy a new car and celebrate her son's birthday. She stopped by her apartment's leasing office, came back to her car, and everything was gone. I'm talking cash, ID, passport, work permit, insurance cards, iPad, everything. And listen, she wasn't rich. She was just trying to do something good for her family. And in a matter of seconds, it was all ripped away. She even said, "It happened so fast, I thought it was a dream." And this is why awareness, knowing what to do and look for and how to protect yourself is your first and most powerful line of defense. Before we get into the 5 red flags to watch before leaving the bank, please hit the subscribe button to let me know, you want to see more content like this. I can easily make more videos just like this for you, but you have to let me know by hitting the subscribe button down below. All right, so moving on. Let's be real. None of us walk out of the bank thinking, we're going to be followed. It's just not something you plan for. You're probably thinking about your next stop, what's for dinner, or whether you remember to reply to that text. That's exactly what jugging crews are counting on, your guard being down. But with a few smart but intentional moves, you can make yourself a harder target and possibly stop a robbery before it even begins. So here's what you need to start doing every time you hit the bank or ATM. First, you want to hide your cash like your life depends on it. That little white bank envelope, it might as well have a flashing neon sign that says easy target. Don't walk out of the bank waving it around or, stuffing it into a visible pocket. Use a plain bag, a backpack, a tote, a diaper bag, a grocery sack, anything but the bank branded envelope or money pouch. And if you don't have to carry cash, just don't. Wire the money or use mobile payments. Even cashier's checks can be a safer route if you're buying something big. The more visible your cash is, the better. The goal is really just to blend in and just move on. And then number 2, you want to switch it up. If you're always hitting the same branch at the same time every week, that's all someone needs to track your pattern and then plan their move on you. So you want to rotate your branches, go on different days, take someone with you when you can. Avoid high traffic times where it's easy for someone to kind of follow you in a crowd. And you know what? You can think of it like this. If you're unpredictable, you're forgettable. And that's exactly what you want to be. And then another thing you can do is use the 3 right turns trick. If you ever get the gut feeling, right, that you're being followed, don't second guess it. What you can do is after leaving the bank, make 3 right turns. If the same car is still behind you, don't drive home. Head to the nearest police station. That should run them off. And if you're on foot, call someone and put them on speaker. I want you to talk loud and let the potential follower behind you know that you're not alone. Both the FBI and some major credit unions give the exact same advice if you ever think you're being followed. And then, of course, you never want to leave cash in your car, not even for 30 seconds. One of the most common and costly mistakes people make is thinking, I'll just run in for 1 minute. That minute is all it takes. They smash your window. They grab your bag and then they're gone. Even if you're parked in your driveway, even if you're just grabbing something from inside the store, take the cash with you every time. Yes, it's a hassle, but it's a whole lot better than, losing thousands. And then you want to keep your guard up. Before even walking out of the bank, look around the parking lot. Who's parked nearby? Is anyone sitting in the car and not getting out? Check who's coming and going. Does anything feel off? And you want to make eye contact with other people and just have that confident body language that makes you less of a target. And you want to avoid distractions at all costs. Don't walk with your head down, scrolling TikTok on your phone, fumbling with your key fob or on a call. Every second that you're distracted is a second that they could be getting closer to you. So you want to stay heads up until you're inside your car and then your doors are locked. And then that's when you can check your phone and text your friend or hop on that call. It's really not about being paranoid. It's about being present and then ready for anything to pop off. The goal is simple. You really want to make yourself a bad target, make them move on from you and protect what you've worked hard for. Now, even with every precaution, jugging crews are fast, they're focused, and they're relentless. So if you've been targeted, there's really a clear plan that you can follow to protect your identity and help catch whoever did this. First, you want to get somewhere safe and then call 911. Of course, you want to protect yourself. So if you're in danger, leave the area immediately and do not try to confront or follow them. Then you want to call 911 and then file that whole report. So they'll want your exact location, what was taken from you, their vehicle details like the color, the make, the model, and any license plate digits you got. They also want to know if weapons were used or shown. If you're hurt, definitely request that medical attention that you need right away. And then you want to capture what you can really quick. So if you still have your phone on you and it's clear and you're physically okay, you want to do this next. Take some photos, broken glass, damage to your car, tire marks, the area where it happened. You want to write down every detail you remember, like suspicious people or vehicles you saw earlier, the route you took from the bank, any specific interaction that felt a little off. The sooner you do this, the more useful your memory will be to the police. And speaking of the police, you want to file that police report immediately. Even if they just stole a few $100, you really want to file that. So the report becomes a key link in tracking those crimes, especially if it matches other incidents. It's also required for insurance, identity theft claims, and bank investigations. And along with that report, you want to get that report number and an officer contact info to follow up with them. And then if they took more than just cash, like your ID, your debit card, your checkbook, or your phone, you need to move fast and lock down your identity. You want to freeze or cancel your bank cards immediately, and then you want to visit Identity Theft Gov to file that report too. And you think about placing a fraud alert or a credit freeze with all three bureaus. That includes Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. This really protects you from fake credit applications or identity theft down the road. But in a situation like this one, having something like Aura would be a complete game changer. I've actually been using Aura for over 2 years now, and I can tell you from firsthand experience, it's one of the best things that you can have in your back pocket when your identity is at risk. And here's why. And that's because you can call them directly, and a real US-based rep will walk you through exactly what to do step by step. They'll help you freeze your credit report, alert the banks, monitor your info in real time, and even hop on three-way calls if you need them to. And they won't rush you. They'll stay on the line until you feel completely secure. So it's not just software. It's actually a team that has your back when you're feeling the most vulnerable. Definitely hit the link below if you want to try Aura for free for 2 weeks. Now, next, you want to notify your bank or credit union. You want to explain exactly what happened and ask, can they pull the security footage for you from the ATM or teller window? Can they monitor your account for unusual activity? Is any kind of fraud protection or reimbursement allowed? If you have a reason to believe a bank employee tipped someone off, you want to say that too. That really matters. And a lot of people forget this, but you want to speak up. And what I mean by that is, most jugging cases go unsolved until patterns emerge. That means the more details that you share, the better the chances of catching them. So you want to talk to your local Facebook groups and your local news stations. You're not the only one it's happened to, and you won't be the last unless more people know what to look for. And you know what? This is exactly why I'm on a mission to educate millions of people about these scams, these tricks, these tactics, and all the sneaky ways that criminals can drain your bank accounts. I actually put together a playlist with all the biggest bank scams that you need to know about. We're talking about sneaky phone scams, shady credit card tricks, and even scams that banks don't want to warn you about. So don't wait until it's too late. Click the playlist right here now and stay one step ahead of the scammers. Thank you for watching.